Hey, what's up guys, it's Sos here, and with the announcement of Adele a few hours ago, I figured there should be some sort of training guide with a good amount of alternative spots for when everybody is making them. So I figured I would do that. Each spot will have around 3 areas. The way that I'm clearing the map in the background will be how I prefer to rotate it. I'm going to start with the best map for each level range, and then I'll show either what I prefer or the alternatives. Each level range is going to be about 10 levels, and to start, 0 to 10, usually tutorial quests, sometimes 0 to 30 or 0 to late 30s depending on what class you are. The late 30s is Kadena, I think, and Ilium. But besides that, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so for 10 to I'd say 22, but you can stay here till 30. The main map is going to be Golem's Temple 3. This map is the best XP for this level range, and it's going to get you to 23 very, very fast. For alternates, we do have any of the Golem's Temple's map. So, starting off, Golem's Temple entrance. This map, they're all pretty much laid out the same. Golem's Temple 1, same thing. Each mob will give a little bit different EXP. This is second lowest, I believe. Lowest. Third. And then mixed will be second best, followed by, of course, the flame golems being the best. Sadly, there's no mini dungeon here anymore, but this level range, not a lot of places to go. I'd say this is the best place. So, now that you've hit 20, 22, depending on what you want, Green Tree Trunk is going to be the best place to hit 30 off of. Pretty simple map. Unfortunately, the platforms with the curves cause some issues with some classes for how they hit mobs. So, you're just going to need to rotate it as best you can. There's no real great way. I like to rotate nearly all my maps counterclockwise, but this map is the only one I would do in a clockwise fashion. So you'd come over here, continue on this way, and loop back around. A lot of times the mobs will build up right in this area, so you can just easily smack. So for a second spot, it would be this map right here. Also fine to go to 30 off of. It's a straight up and down map. Unfortunately, I don't believe that there is a teleport to the top. So my best guess, well, not guess, but my advice would be to work your way up it like so. Obviously, if you don't have rope lift, you'll just use the ropes. Go all the way up, drop yourself down. Unless you don't kill it fast, then just kill up and down. My final recommendation for this level range, 22 or 20 to 30, would be this map. I really like it. It's where the forest ends. It has these ones. This is, whereas it is the best XP, it's not necessarily the most efficient depending on your class. The best way to do it is actually to work down all the way. But sadly, there is no teleport. There's only this rope. So your only way to get back up is just to physically climb all the way, which is perfectly fine. You know, climb all the way up, and if you clear fast enough, just throw yourself off and start from the bottom again. Anyway, these are the few maps. Really anything along here, but the cold eyes aren't the greatest maps. Like this one's very mediocre at best. So yeah, those are the maps I would suggest for 20 to 30. Of course, if your class doesn't let you out of a zone, you have to stay there. If you're like, I think it's Kinesis, you have to stay here. Can you freely go to these maps? Okay, so you can freely go to these maps if anything's full. A little bit bigger and more spread out, but it'll be fine anyway. Anything along here for the 20s to 30s. So now that you've hit 30 and your second job, I like to use this map here in Eloden, since the mobs will scale with your level from 30 to 59. But my suggestion would actually to only stay here from 30 to 38 or so, depending on your class. I know that Kaisers, unless you do the quest line, can't go to the next few maps I'm going to show you. So this might be your best bet, but of course with Adele releasing, just come here. Any of the maps in Elodin will scale with your level, I believe, but I find this map to be the best. So of course you can use these maps, rotate them however you like. I prefer counterclockwise. I just tried clockwise and it didn't feel right, but you know, counterclockwise, go around. So that'll take you from 30 to 38, and that is literally just any map along here. You can also do the Golden Beach theme dungeon, but in my experience, theme dungeons are actually kind of slower if you're just on 2x with either Kishin or a Fury Totem. So yeah, this leaves like a ton of maps to use, plus all of Gold Beach. And there is also the Fairy Academy, but I don't like to go there. I believe it's here. Yeah, here. That's a whole quest line and theme dungeon. Alright guys, so moving on, once you're around 38 or so, I like to go to Mr. Hazard's Lair 1, but any of the Mr. Hazard's Lairs will work. There are 3 of them. So this would be my first choice for a map. Very simple, you just come around this way, up, and back over. It's pretty good EXP, you're going to stay here till 50. There's not much to explain about it. It should get you there pretty fast. Again, you can do here, the second one, which is a bit bigger, and definitely not my preference, but if things are full, you don't really have much of a choice. And the third map, which is also just about the same layout as the second one, or the first one, my bad, but has this upper platform here. So again, the Mr. Hazard's Lairs for 38 to 50. So now that you're 50, my suggestion would become coming to Wild Boarland. Of course, this is a very popular map, definitely one of the more popular maps for this level range. One thing I forgot to mention before was that you can do Rien Strait, which is this quest right here, anytime between 30 and 59. I would suggest you wait till 50 to do it if you want to. Otherwise, Wild Boarlands is going to be your best map. Otherwise, you will be forced to use any of these other pig maps. Now, I usually do this map only for around 3 levels, so from 50 to 53, but you could stay here till 60 or 58, depending on what other maps you want. At 53, I like to come to this map, clear this all out, rotate it all the way around, and I believe at 55 you are yep, 55 you can do this quest here. So even while you're killing, you get free XP basically for completing that. Unfortunately, there's really not a lot of places for level 50 mobs, so you're pretty much confined to these 5 maps, which will be pretty hard. But there is also, yep, here it is, Deep Mire. You can use this map if everything is full. I will say it's not the best, but the mob spawn even without Kishin is pretty good. Of course, with Kishin or Totem, it will be even better. So, of course, coming to another popular map, I usually do this once I'm 57, will be this map here, Military Camp 1. If you want to know how to get to it, first off, come to this map right here, Excavation Intermission Area, and then it's this hidden portal right here. Take that, and this map, it has a teleport to the top. That's a safe platform up top. Clear yourself all the way down, and then you just teleport right back up. Really easy map, definitely one of the more popular maps. But if this is full, you can train in the outside area, which isn't that bad as it has a lot of spawn. Otherwise, you can use literally any of these maps, but if I had to suggest one, it would be the stone masks, rocky masks, my bad. It would be rocky masks, as these gives pretty good EXP, plus you can stay up to 70 if you really desired. But from 55 to 70, I'd say this map is as high as you would go on it. So guys, once you hit 60, you are now third job. So what you have to do is you come to Silent Swamp. It is the most popular map probably in the whole game besides some very late game maps, but has a teleport at the bottom which lets you go all the way to the top, clear yourself all the way down, teleport back up. Of course, I'm not going to kill steal from this guy, but with it being such a popular map, you are going to have a terribly hard time getting it. Otherwise, you can come to this map here, also a pretty popular map. I don't use it, so what your best guess would be is teleport to another door, because you can't teleport any further, and use wild cargoes. It's a pretty flat map, so anything with really good mobility, especially jet, will have a really easy time. It has okay spawn, and obviously totem, kitchen make it even better. And there is one more map for this level range, and this level range is going to be from 60 to 76. So for the second to last map is Forbidden Altar right here. So this is level 70, so I'd say at most you stay here till 80. It's just this bottom platform here. Junior Barlog spawns, or is that normal? Either way, it spawns, so that's a good chunk of EXP, plus it's just easy spawn. And this one platform down here, everything up here is safe in case you need to bring Kishin, or if you have some sort of mule. And of course there is one more map. So for 60 to, well, 60 will be hard. 66 is ideal because it puts you within 5. But for that, if drakes are full, you can come to this map. It has a jump all the way to the top. You work your way down, and then you go right back up. I'll stop taking this guy's kills, but this is Stairway to this guy 1. Most of these maps aren't that great, to be honest, around here. So this is the only one I would recommend. But besides that, you also have all those Sleepywood maps I showed you, which are Wild Cargoes, Silent Swamp, the one after Silent Swamp, along with the Forbidden Altar. These ones here, the Gloomy Temples, the Endless Hallway, the Collapsed Temple, they're not bad, but the only one I would ever suggest is Gloomy Temple. Even then, it's very situational. So once you hit 76, you come to this map, which is Ice Valley 2. Of course, there's somebody there. So what this is just 3 platforms. You drop down, there's a teleport right here, brings you back to the top, and you drop right back down. So one thing with this map is it is very popular. It's definitely going to be your fastest way from 76 to 85. So assuming Ice Valley 1 or 2 is full, you can come to Ice Valley 1. It's like Ice Valley 2, just a lot more platforms. So, of course, all the way down, teleport back up to the top, and right back to it, going all the way down. This map is okay, but of course Ice Valley 2 is going to be your go-to. There really aren't a ton of maps for this level range, sadly. Like this one, pretty garbage. Just a lot of these in Elnath are not that great. So you're pretty much stuck between these two, or you can stay here till 85, but I wouldn't recommend that, as at 80 we do have a map. So we're going to continue to that. Once you are at 80, you have 2 options. If you have the Silent Swamp or Ice Valley 2 or 1 map, you can stay there, or you can come to this map. This is the one to the east of Ariant. It's Desert Rabbits female. They're pretty good XP. It's all one long flat map. Well, mostly flat. This little hill barely takes away from it. These 3 here are safe platforms. Otherwise, once you're 85, you'll be coming up to Sahel 2, a very popular map. So this is just another one long flat map. Pretty easy to train. These are all safe platforms. This is usually where people put their cushion. If this map is full, which it most likely is, you can come over to the Desert of Serenity, which is usually also pretty full. But again, one long flat map, safe platform for Kishin. Desert of Dreams isn't that bad, especially if you're a faster class, because it's mostly flat except for obviously the divots. But safe platform here for whatever you need. and it's flat enough where you can pretty much clear it out. Otherwise, there are still other maps, such as, I believe it's this one here. Yep, this map, flat, safe platforms, iron mutates, or mutates, I don't know what they're called. Iron mutate. But flap all the way across, and that'll be for 85 is fine to come here. So once you are 90, if you're at a Sahel map or the Sunset Road one, Desert of Serenity, I would suggest keeping it till 100. Otherwise, you can come here to Lab Area C1. This map is pretty good. It's flat, and it'll have a boss that spawns occasionally called Security Camera, which gives a good amount of EXP. The upper platforms are all pretty safe. I wouldn't suggest putting anything like along here. But, I mean, just one long flat map. Otherwise, you'll be staying at these three for till you're 100. Most of these other maps are okay, but I would really just suggest C1. And that should bring you up to 100 and 4th job. So, once you are level 100 and you have obtained your 4th job skill, this is the best map here. It's going to be West Lafray Forest. It is this map, just literally to the west of it. And this will take you up to, you can stay here till 110 at most. I usually only stay here till 101, and then I'll explain later. Otherwise, you can use this map right here, Cranky Forest. It's 5 flat maps, or not really flat, but it's 5 platforms. This one, these two, and it's mirrored on the other side. Down here at the bottom, mobs cannot spawn, so you can throw whatever you need down here, whether it be Kishin or an HS mule or whatever. So yeah, that's this map right here. So once you're 101, I suggest doing this as it will give you a significant damage boost against Zakum. Is, well, of course, normal Zakum. So queue in as easy Zakum, it doesn't really matter. As long as you get here, come here, receive your eye, normal. Now, my suggestion is doing this while you're on 2 times EXP, a rune, MVP, and a Monster Park golden potion, as that will all increase your EXP. You just come in, throw this down. Zakum will spawn, and whatever you are, just kill it. That should bring you, depending on what your buffs are, either to around 109 or as high as, I think the highest I've ever seen get off that was from 101 to 127. So that should bring you up a couple levels depending on what you hit. We will resume to that level. So once you are 109 or 110, depending on where you decided to stop, or depending on what you are level-wise after Zakum, you will be here till 125, and that will be Toy Factory Apparatus Room in Ludibrium. It's this map on the end here. This map is pretty popular for this level range, so luckily almost every map here, so these ones are all usable except for this one. This one at the end is unusable. Well, I shouldn't say unusable, it's not very good. So all these maps are pretty much just 2 platforms straight across. Of course, that's a safe platform there. This is a safe platform all the way across. And I'll show off this map. Same thing. 2 platforms all the way across. Don't really use this room as it's kind of long. And the platforms are a little high for each class. But the other 2 here, which would be Zone 3 and Zone 2, I think. Yep. They're pretty good, as they're just the long 2 platforms with safe platforms for whatever you need, again, as usual. So these will bring you up to 125, where we will resume in Korean Folktown. So once you hit 100 or 125, depending on what you stayed till, as you will see why I say 120 in a moment, your best map will be this one here, Black Mountain Entrance in Korean Folktown. It's just the one right to the left of the actual town. This will be the best map for 125 to 135. Do these wanted things, as it'll give you a nice boost in EXP, as it's just killing these things. Safe platform, all this up here is safe. However, sometimes runes will spawn all the way at the top, so if you don't have a way to get there, well, you're screwed. Otherwise, you'll do that from the 125 till 135. Since this is the most popular map, you're going to need some alternatives, and luckily I've prepared those for you. So, starting off, we have Dangerous Cliff. Now this map isn't really used, and you can come here at 117. The reason that this map is so good is because it has the teleport to the top. It's just like Ice Valley, but of course it's different level range. So clear the way down, all the way back at the top, and it's going to be the same for all these, where it's territory 1 through 3, I believe. Come all the way down, all the way back at the top. Oh, okay, almost back at the top. And then, of course, territory 2. Almost back at the top again, so you will have that one platform, which means that the Dangerous Cliff is the best one, and Wolves Territory 3, which will be the best XP. Stay here till 135 at most. After that, you'll pretty much be receiving a 6% EXP penalty, which is pretty big actually. So, ladies and gentlemen, once you hit 135, you come to the last map in Korean Folktown actually, and that's Goblin House. You can stay at this map till only 140, I'd say. It's just these 3 platforms here. That's a safe platform. Mobs usually don't spawn past this end of the background, so you can pretty much just sit here and destroy the whole map. Not much to say about it. It's good to 140. It'll drop Pencilier gear, so that'll get you fully decked out for that. Of course, we have to have alternates because it's very busy, and that would be Pirates Den 2. This map has actually been under change, sort of, as it used to be for the 130 level range, but now it is for 135 to 150 if you really desire. But again, I'd say 135 to 140. It's just these 2 long platforms plus this one here. So these sails and this platform here are completely safe. If that is also taken, you can go to the other ones, but these ones aren't quite as good. It all depends what you prefer. I personally don't like this map, nor the first map. So guys, once you're at 140, I would suggest coming to the Temple of Time. Now, I would stay at Temple of Time from 140 to 150. The most acceptable maps are going to be Memory Lane 4, as it's just this long corridor. Sadly, there are no safe platforms. Memory Lane 5 is also very good, as you can work your way down all the way to the bottom and then teleport back up to here. This is mostly safe. Of course, Dodo spawns though, so if you have a kitchen meal, you put it up there, you will have to watch out for Dodo. The other good map would be... No, not Road to Oblivion 4, my bad. It is Road to Oblivion 3. Stay here till... God damn it. There we go. Road to Oblivion 3. It's the same thing, but with higher level mobs, so you get a little bit more XP depending on what you clear faster. And here, I'd stay probably till 150. If you really can't find a map, you could stay here till 160. Of course, it is a 10 level upgrade from the other mobs, so that will be much better to level off of. Road 4 is only really usable if you have Totem or Kishin, as it's like the other map. You teleport back up to the top here, clear it down, and that will be this map. It used to be pretty popular, and this platform here is pretty safe for Kishin. So that'll take you up to 150, or if you are staying at these end maps, it will be till 160. You can do 140 to 140 to 150, and then 150 to 160 if you desire. Otherwise, we have better maps. So once you're 150, another very popular map is Colossus West Road 2, and that would be here. So it's in Lefray, here, Colossus, and there. It's just these two platforms. This platform here is safe, so I like to rotate this map, of course, counterclockwise, go around and such. And this map will be good till 160, or if you really desire, 162. But once you're 160, we'll have a map. You can also go through the entire quest line of it and get yourself all the EXP from it, so you'll end up using pretty much all the maps. Especially if you go all the way through it. This map here is one very long platform, but you have to do the quest line to get to it. It has a ton of spawn. It's very good EXP. You could go here till 173. Anyway, from here, you will be forced, pretty much with this map being so popular, to use any of the other maps or the Temple of Time maps that I showed you prior to get to 160. So one other map I forgot to mention for the 150 level range is this one here in Kerning Tower. That would be second floor Cafe 4. It is a Star Force map after all, so you will have to have 80 Star Force to be able to do it, but it has decent spawn, and with it being Star Force, it gives an increased amount of EXP, so that makes it very good for leveling up between 150 and 165, I'd say at most. Well, now that you're 160, everything is pain and you might as well quit. So, maps from 160 to 200 are kind of gonna suck, to be honest. I use Hill north of Henny Ruin in future Genesis. This platform here is safe for Kishimyo and such. It has decent spawn. The mobs, unfortunately, are a bit tanky as there's a bit of a power climb between 150 and 160, but you just rotate it around in a large circle and you'll be fine. Otherwise, if this map is full, you can come to Henny Ruin Markets. It's pretty long, but the spawn is pretty okay. Sometimes it's burning, and you just rotate it around in a circle however you want, whichever way. I tend to go this way on this map, so that would be clockwise. I don't believe there's any safe platforms. Here is the technical safe place, but from here they can sometimes end up hitting you. So these maps will be taking you from 160 to around 168, I believe. You can also use this map, but be warned if they... Can I enrage one? They will do a punch attack that hits... There it is. So it'll hit you about 6 times, and it will usually one-shot squish your classes. Otherwise, from 160 to 170, you'll be using the Henny Ruin, the Mutated Slime, or the Mutated Ribbon Pigs. Then from 170, or not 170, my bad, 167, 168, you'll be using this map, Night District 2. It's pretty easy. It's just this one long platform at the bottom, and these 2 platforms up here. This here is a safe platform, along with this platform here being safe. This map is pretty good. It'll take you to 100 and I'd say 174 is really all you gotta do. Otherwise, once you're 174, you can come to either this map, which has no safe place, plus they, like the Mutated Ribbon Pigs, will do an attack that will hit you multiple times. There it is, it's the bats right there. That hits around 6 or 7 times. But it's very small and close map to kill. Otherwise, my preference would be this map here, as you can throw Kishin down at the bottom. If you position your Kana right, you can sit on the ladder and be perfectly fine. This map is pretty good, as they will also spawn in. They're not going to spawn it in, of course. Anyway, they do have a secondary mob that spawns in. There it is. These giant golem guys, so that's even more EXP as you rotate around any way you desire. Most of these Knights Chambers maps are pretty good. This one would be what I prefer, which would be Knights Chamber 3. Unfortunately, again, this level range just completely sucks to train at, so you are, however, screwed until 200. Knights Chamber 4, also an okay map. 3 platforms, no safe platform, just like all the other Knights Chambers. I wouldn't suggest using Knights Chambers 5, as it's not that great. It's 2 columns, basically, of maps, but definitely not preferred. And Hall of Honor is basically no longer usable, as mobs now spawn on the bottom platform. Otherwise, if it didn't, it would be usable. 185, any of those Knights Chambers maps there. You can also end up using the other districts, but I would suggest staying away from them. So now that you're 185, Desolate Hills, which is this map here, it's right above Twilight Parion, is the best choice, as the platforms up the top, this one, and this one, are all safe. And mobs spawn in 2 rows, so the bottom platform here and these 2 platforms with this little split in between is where they'll spawn. If this map is full, you can also go to Deserted Southern Ridge, which has more mob spawn, but it's a much bigger map. I'm surprised people are actually using it, but it's 4 platforms, decent mob spawn. A lot of the time there will be a lot of build up on the bottom here. But these will take you from 185 to 190. Sadly, there's really not a lot of alternative to these maps, so you're stuck between these 2. So once you're 190, the most popular map is going to be Forsaken Excavation Site 2, which is this map right here. I really don't like that they do the fading thing. But yeah, that's this map right here. It's definitely the most popular map. Otherwise, you can use Forsaken Excavation 3. If you stayed these maps till 193, you can end up coming here to Warrior Grounds, which used to be one of the better maps, but now it has kind of a lot of platforms, but it has a lot of spawn, and it's very good EXP. So rotate it however you like, but of course the spawn is pretty massive. Unfortunately, there is no real safe platform. I can't quite remember if this is out of range or not for a Kishin mule, but if it is, that's fantastic. So yeah, you have Warrior Grounds, you have Forsaken Excavation 2, 3, which is kind of mediocre. It's longer, but it's definitely usable, as I've done it. Or you have one final option to get yourself to 200, and that would be Gale Plateau. Now this map is commonly burning, as you see, 100% extra, so I'm basically on a permanent 2x here, as most channels will be. So rotating this map around counterclockwise is pretty good. There is one spawn that's kind of weird, which is up here. A lot of them will get clumped up. If you have a Kishin mule, this platform here or this platform here will be best, but honestly there's not a lot of spots for them to go. So that's what you have for 190 to 200. So once you're 200 and you have 5th job, you'll be able to go to Vanishing Journey in the Arcane River. What I would suggest for level 200 is Raging Erdos. This map is pretty good, as it's 2 columns, but it's low Arcane Force. So of course once your 5th job you have to get Arcane Force, which is these. You combine them and you get Arcane Force. So with it only being 30, you can come here basically right away. But the best map is going to be Below the Cave right here. Now this map is incredibly popular, so getting one is going to be pretty much impossible during any sort of EXP event or new class. But don't worry, there are other maps. One of the other alternatives would be the Sad Erdos, which is pretty much like Raging Erdos, but instead at the top it has a longer platform connecting pretty much over to this one, so it makes rotation a little bit easier than Raging. Stone Erd is here, also another viable training map, as you can rotate it around this way, up all the way. If you come over, kill all this, and right back down. It allows for some pretty easy rotation. I wouldn't suggest really any of these other maps. However, using some of these other maps like Western Cave Path 2 is pretty good, especially if you can hit the 2nd platform up there, as it's just another one of these long training maps. Nothing exactly special about it. If you're a Kana, however, you just use Blazing Arrows, as your Tengu will do the work for you. Another choice is Eastern Cave, Cave Path 2. It's basically below the cave, but reversed. So the small platform is lower, and then it just goes up. This map is pretty good for pretty much any class. And that will be all for 200 to 210. Unfortunately, Vanishing Journey is kind of garbage for maps, but it's only going to go downhill from here, so stick through it. Once you are 210, you unlock Choo Choo Village, or Island, my bad, which is, of course, this gorgeous blob of color. So it's all this. The best map is here, Slurpy Forest Depths. Now, I'm going to put best in quotation marks, as I don't really like this map at all. It has teleport to the top, you kill down, and teleport yourself right back up. However, what I would consider the best map is this one right here, Torrent Zone 1. This is easily one of my favorite maps. Often it is higher burning than Burning Stage 1. But you come all the way down, it's these platforms the river takes you, and then has teleport right back. This map is really only ideal if you can one-shot, but it is very, very good. I'd stay here 210. I did it till 225 before. I mean, any of the torrent zones are really viable. Torrent Zone 4 isn't exactly as great, but it's definitely usable. So yeah, these are any of the torrent zones. Slurpy Forest Depths, or this map here is pretty contained, as you want flatter maps that are squished together. So, good spawn all the way across, just back and forth. There are no real safe platforms. These are, but I can't remember if they can hit you or not. So I would suggest Molted Forest, Slurpy Forest, Bibbidi Bobble Forest. God, what a terrible name. Or Torrent Zone 1, followed by the rest of the torrent zones from 210 to 220 or 225. So guys, once you hit level 220, you will be coming to Lachlan. Now the best map is going to be Revelation Place 3, but this map is quite populated always. So it's just a couple of platforms. It's these where they can spawn, these two here, and this one up here. If you have something that can be placed down, placing it up here, coming across, killing and coming back across is definitely the best way to do it. There's not much to it. Otherwise, my favorite alternative is Occupied Dance Floor. Not this one, my bad. Hold up. Dance Floor 1. Also kind of populated now with all of the Kanas coming to Arcana to become farmers, even though they will never get a map. Anyway, these are the two best maps because unfortunately Lachlan just sucks for maps. Some of these outlaw streets are okay. This is the only one I would say is really acceptable to try out. So it's just like 3 platforms all the way across basically. I believe 2 and 3 are kind of the same, but yeah, these platforms are a bit higher up, I believe, along with this weirdness here. Yeah, that one platform at the beginning was definitely higher up. And 3 is good for Kanas, really, but that's about it because these platforms are so high up. If you're a Kana, you can also come to Chicken Festival 1, which is one of the best meso farming maps. This guy isn't doing it right, though, so that kind of sucks for him. Chicken Festival 2 is usable as it is 2 straight platforms. Or, well, I mean, they're split up, but it's 2 platforms all the way across, same height. So this makes this map very, very good. But definitely not a great, just not a great zone in general, Lachlan. This map, kind of just like Chicken Festival 2, which would be Revelation Place 2. Is just straight across 2 platforms. So that's really all you have for Lachlan, which is 220 to 225. Personally, I would say to train here until 228-ish, if possible. If not, definitely 230. because Arcana is gonna suck. So once you're level 225, you have one of the old best maps in the entire game, which would be CLP, also Cavern Lower Path. It's this map right here. Unfortunately, you can't actually train here till like 232 because the mobs are level 237. So you have a couple other options. One of them would be Earth, as this one's pretty easy to do. Killing here, if you have a placement such as Dark Knight, throwing it there and then continuing across. Otherwise, you can use either of the BFAT maps, which are between Frost and Thunder 1 or 2. I prefer Frost and Thunder 1, but it's basically the same map, just backwards. So mobs don't commonly spawn on that left side, they spawn all the way across, like this. BFAT 1, which is this one right here, is quite commonly burning. As you can see, burning stage 7, you can probably easily find a burning stage 100, or 10 I mean, for that 100% bonus EXP. So that's this map, and that's CLP. Unfortunately, the maps in Arcana are going to be so full of Kanas that you won't have much of a choice. Oh my god, someone else is here. Anyway. You know what, Lower Path 2, anyway, it's a great map. It's just these two identical sections. Lower Path 1 is something that a lot of warriors use actually, and it's just this this map. Very simple, very easy to use. But besides that, none of these maps, unless you're farming, which would be Side Path, Decup 1, Decup 2, and these will be usable. So that's why you stay at Lachlan if you can till 230. Otherwise, we will continue on in Morass. So one thing I forgot to mention about Arcana is technically if you do get a map like Cavern Lower Path, you can stay till 247, but really, once you're 230, I would kind of try to peace out and just leave it all behind. Because these maps here are going to be really your only other option. So if you can one-shot these maps here, they are going to be really your only option, as they are a bit bigger, but the mob spawn is really decent. And of course, the arcane force requirement is going to be quite high. So as long as you have the arcane force, it should be pretty fine. Unfortunately, I do not one-shot on this character. I'm pretty close though, but it's because of my arcane force. I don't get any bonus. So that's the shadow dance halls. Otherwise, the abandoned areas are also really, really good. A lot of mob spawn, big maps. As you can tell, there's just a ton of mobs here. But the maps are pretty big. The EXP is pretty good, and you could stay here till 250 if you desired. But of course, there are better maps. You can use any of these three, along with any of these three. So that's 6 maps there. The Strong Gangsters and the Nameless Cats are also pretty good. I prefer Street Cat area to the other cat one. Again, Morass not the greatest of maps, so you're kind of screwed till 245, which, or not 245, oh my god, 235 when you get to go to Asphera, which is going to be a lot better. So, I will see all of you at Asphera in just one moment. Once you are 235, you unlock Asphera. Now, most of these earlier maps kind of suck, but the real stars are these ending maps, Mirror Touch Seas. I believe 4 is pretty good. But, hang on, let me find the best one real quick. I believe it's 3. I am somewhat correct, as from the middle you can get both sides pretty decently depending on your class. So all the Mirror Touch Seas, mostly 2, 3, and 4. 2 being the best, that's the one. Unfortunately, you're not a marksman, but if you're a marksman and you have your 5th job, it will burst both ways and just destroy. Some of these other maps are okay, but definitely not going to be suggested. You can stay here till 250 or even like 255, but of course once you hit 240 you are off to Tenebrous, which I haven't even done the pre-quest yet. Oh, it's 245. I thought it was 240. My bad. Yeah, you're stuck here till 245, so enjoy that. Those spiders are gonna be your best friend, as it'll take you hours. Probably. I figure by the time you hit 250, there'll be enough time where there are changes to the meta. So, I hope this video has helped, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I know that it's kind of messy and probably pretty fast paced. I should hopefully have timestamps down in the description for level ranges. I hope you've all enjoyed and found it helpful. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will see you all next time.